30 robot fighting teams are preparing to do battle. The good, the bad and the ugly from 2 decades of robot combat return for gory metal glory alongside newbie teams hungry for victory. The new arena is primed full of improved hazards, the pit, fire, flipper and spikes, as well as the arena muscle, the deadly house robots. Through grueling heats, the competition will be whittled down until only the strongest survive. But which robot has what it takes to be crowned Grand Slam champion? Let's find out. Hello ladies and gents and welcome to the Grand Slam Series 1 Episode 3. Last time we saw Bite Force take out Carbide in stupendous style. This time 6 more robots trying to get their place in the grand final. Let's meet them.
Diot-Awe, Flipper.
Diot-Awe, the dotty robot, the dotty team in my opinion. This new version is a mix of 2 robot combat teams, Iron-Awe and the classic Diot-Awe team. It's a flipper with a wide blade but limited CO2.
Hypnodisc, Spinner.
Hypnodisc. What a veteran team. They have one of the most destructive discs in the competition. Unfortunately, it can be a bit temperamental these days. It was once capable of a lot of damage. We'll see.
Ironside 2, Bar Spinner.
Going backwards, this team perhaps, or are they just seeing how the old robots might have done? Ironside 2 has, let me put it this way, the biggest spinner in the competition. Watch out everyone.
Shadowcat, Lifter.
Shadowcat trying to put right what they didn't really do in the Grand Slam Pilots. They went out to Thor, if you remember, in their opening melee. It's an awkward shape, which means other robots can't really get a hold of it, but lack of experience still could be an issue.
Storm 2, Pusher.
Storm 2 built from the ground up for this, since they went out in the Grand Slam Pilots to Dantomkia. They've got amazing pushing power and speed as ever, but the effectiveness of that wedge has decreased fairly.
Wham, X-Bot.
Wham returns after their brutal execution to Extremist 2 in the Grand Slam Pilots. They got heavy weaponry in that hammer, but very exposed wheels and almost BattleBots-esque if you ask me. Now with our 6 teams introduced to you and now we know them just that little bit better, we've just got time to go through how the fights will work. We start with our 2 group melees, the winners of which go straight through to the Heat semi-final. There, they will face the winners of the redemption round, a chance for the losers of round 1 to get a second go of showing their mettle, quite literally. A robot can win a fight by immobilising their opponents for 10 seconds in the arena, by flipping them out of the arena and into the trench, or by dumping them into the pit of oblivion. And in the event of a tie, the judges will decide who takes the win. In the arena, for Melee 1, we have Ironside 2, Hypnodisc and Shadowcat. That's unfortunate. 2 spinners up against Shadowcat. The underdog surely. And in the arena for the house robots, yet another spinner, of sorts, it's Dead Metal. Team Shadowcat claim that they're happy with this draw. Very interesting. They claim they are the ultimate spinner killer. We shall soon see.
3, 2, 1, activate.
So here we go for the first melee, and already it's got off to a rip-roaring start. Ironside has utterly brutalised Hypnodisc here. Shadowcat flipped them over. Now Shadowcat's been tossed into a corner as if it wasn't even there. Mercy, please. I do not want to die. Ironside, a brute in this competition so far, and they've only been in it for at least now 30 seconds, perhaps less. Shadowcat pushing Ironside around. I think Hypnodisc could be out of it here. The top armor has gone, the Shreemech has gone, Shadowcat's gone across the arena once again at the hand of Ironside 2. Rogue House Robot has come into play, and now Dead Metal coming in on Shadowcat, coming to saw at that arm. Ironside driving away, and what are they doing? Are they spinning up again? Yes, they are, and they've hit Dead Metal. An attack on the House Robot. They're caught now, and Shadowcat with its arm in the air. Is that okay? Yes, it is. Managing to come down. Dead Metal's retreated into a corner. Don't hit me again, they're saying. Don't hit me again. Ironside now being pushed into that corner patrol zone, and Shadowcat was the dealer of that damage. Now pushing them against the side wall and flipping Ironside. A famous flip here. Now, can they self-right from that position? They should be able to, but the Shreemech not working properly. And now Shadowcat pushing them into another side wall and into the corner of the arena. Now pushing Hypnodisc onto the arena button. There's no guarantee the pit will go down, but it has. What a coincidence. Definitely a coincidence there. Nothing else at play. Definitely not a massive hand. And Ironside have been flipped over. And now, can Shadowcat finish the job? Yes, they can. Shadowcat take a victory there and go through to the Heat semi-final. What a performance from them, even if it was sheer dumb luck. Well, the veterans Hypnodisc, I think, had a target on their back. They needed to be got rid of very, very quickly, and were. And as for Ironside, I think even though they're in redemption, they've got a very strong chance of going through from here. But Shadowcat could be something to watch. So, a visual confirmation there for you that against all the odds, Shadowcat took the win over Ironside 2 and Hypnodisc. And in our second melee tonight, Wham will be taking on Diot-Awe and Storm 2. And once again, joining them in the arena is Dead Metal. Of course, varying degrees of experience. Team Diot-Awe and Iron-Ore both very experienced. Storm 2 less so. Wham very new to the competition, really.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
So here we go for tonight's second melee, and Storm 2 pushing Diot-Awe and Wham across the arena, really dominating in the opening stage of this fight. Now Dead Metal coming in on Wham, trying to get that circular saw in, and is just about, no, not able to in this case. Cannot get in on Wham. Diot-Awe now trying to flip Storm 2. They can't quite get under Storm 2. Very low ground clearance. And Wham gets the hammer in. Diot-Awe flips. Diot-Awe's lost its flipper. What on earth happened there to the Diot-Awe and the Iron-Ore team? And now Wham can't self-right for some reason. It's off balance. There we go. Finally self-righting, and that now wedge of Diot-Awe is just pushing, and Storm 2 pushing as well. An excellent attack into that camera's eye line, now pushing them once again across the arena, and Diot-Awe are stuck up on their back, now righted once again but up against the side wall, and Storm 2 really dominating here. Can Diot-Awe do much now that they've lost their flipper? Can Wham get the hammer in to a good blow? The Rogue House Robot has been activated, and Dead Metal is coming out for oil, looking for an attack on either Storm 2, Wham or Diot-Awe, but has been pushed back into its CPZ by Storm 2. Interesting that they can do that. They're very experienced, very powerful as Storm 2, managing to push Wham into the corner. Now Diot-Awe joining in the party almost. Now Storm trying to get round the back and push both robots. Storm 2, if you recall, won the Third World Championships, and now what's happened to Wham? While I was giving you that brief description on Storm 2, Wham's managed to, well, self-destruct or something like that. It can't get up. It got stuck on its hammer, balancing on the tiniest of points, and Diot-Awe's being caught on the spikes, and they can't get off of there. And Storm 2 can help them off by ramming into them, and I think Storm 2 has got some damage on it. Yes, the front is falling off slowly but surely. There's another bit you can see laying there, and being pushed all around the arena is Diot-Awe being pushed just mercilessly into a wall, really being bullied into submission, but both caught on the floor flipper. Storm 2 can self-right and have done. Diot-Awe, I'm not so sure can, and being pushed onto the spikes once again, and they won't be able to get off of there. I'm not sure what happened to the camera there. I think Storm 2 must have run into it or something. Storm 2 pushing now hitting the pitch release button. Wham having to self-right and pushing Storm towards the pit. No, they've driven in. Why on earth would Wham drive into the pit? There goes Diot-Awe as well. Well, I think it was a late push from Storm 2, but Wham, trying to get Storm 2 caught out, didn't. Well, Storm 2 dominant from the start. Diot-Awe losing that flipper early on, and you'd think that the teams that had the most ingenuity and the most experience would build something a bit stronger. Unfortunately, they were flipped over and they're going into redemption. Now, what happened at the end here? Storm 2 pushes the pit release. Wham goes to push Storm 2. Storm 2, I think, just outdrives them and pushes them in the pit. Well done. They're heading into the semi-finals. So, as you can see here, Storm 2 are the victors, and Diot-Awe and Wham will have to go through redemption. And speaking of, it's time for our first redemption round, where Diot-Awe will be taking on Hypnodisc. So much experience in these two teams, although one of the teams is made up of two teams already. So is it 3 teams, 1 team, 3 teams, 2 teams? I don't know anymore. Anyway, in the arena for the house robots, we have the muscle and the matriarchy of Sir Killalot and Matilda. Flipper versus Spinner, some classic weapons, a classic fight. This should go down well.
Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Neither of these robots are holding out at the very start as Diot-Awe gets a good flip in on Hypnodisc, but Hypnodisc is fine and is now pushing with that spinner, doing all sorts of damage to the sides of Diot-Awe, but nothing really there. A good flip again from Diot-Awe, managing to flip and spiral Hypnodisc out of the way, and once again, and Hypnodisc this time overturned and having to use their self-righter to get back up, but now coming in on the attack on Diot-Awe, and really bearing the brunt of it is Diot-Awe, and Diot-Awe's been flipped on the floor flipper. Now Hypnodisc could come in here for an attack. They seem to have stopped. I wonder why. No, they're moving again now, and Diot-Awe flipping once again, and there goes the Shrimek and the top armor, and now Hypnodisc will have to be very careful not to get flipped again, but an awesome slam on the side of Diot-Awe by getting flipped. And I just said they need to stay away from that sort of action, but they just got righted by Diot-Awe. Diot-Awe could have left them, but it's good sportsmanship from them. Flipped once again though. Maybe they were just coming in to show their dominance. Now flipping again, and Hypnodisc have gone out to the arena, and Diot-Awe take the win of this redemption round, and they go through to the Heat semi-final. What an extraordinary win for them. Oh dear. Oh, the flipper's gone again. Oh dear. Well, Diot-Awe were on top for a lot of this fight, or underneath, it depends how you look at it. They got under Hypnodisc many a time, one little slip up, or maybe 2, but Hypnodisc I think were lucky to land the right way up as many times as they did, and in the end they had to go out. Well done, Diot-Awe. Next, entering the arena for their final chance at proving themselves worthy enough to enter the semi-finals, we have Ironside 2 and Wham. Ironside 2, a deadly bar spinner. Wham, never really been successful with spinners before. How will they fare here? And for the first time tonight, joining us in the arena for the house robots is the bulldozing, axe-wielding maniac that is Shunt. And as if things weren't bad enough, Sir Killalot's also here. Well, I mentioned when introducing this fight that Wham has been up against spinners before and not done too well. Extremist 2, if you remember, in the Pilots. I hope they've done some structural repairs since then.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Ironside 2 very quick to spin up. Wham tentatively driving in, but managing to stop that blade and bringing that hammer over, but that didn't look too good, and neither did that hit there. Oh my god! I don't believe the power of Ironside! Oh no! Oh no! Please, somebody restrain this robot. Ironside 2 clear winners. Wham there, Wham over there, Wham everywhere. Goodness me. Well, when I came into work today, I didn't think that a robot would be cleaved in two. Wham got one hit on the very centre, and that was curtains. That was incredible from Ironside. Just look at the power. Just look at it. In that spinner, off comes the weapon and that wheel. I wonder which bit Ironside 2 will take as a trophy. I think it's the wacky wheel that went rolling off. Here it comes across the arena and landing directly on the flame pit. I wonder if Sir Killalot took an interest. Well, after that pretty convincing fight, I think we should move on to the Heat semi-finals, where Storm 2 will be going up against Diot-Awe. These two robots very evenly matched on paper, but once in the arena I think Storm 2 will prove to be the superior. But we shall have to wait and see, because we can't just judge a book by its cover. We have to think about all the factors. For example, the two house robots Shunt and Waltzing Matilda here to brutalise our opponents. Now don't forget, this is for a place in the Heat final. There they will face either Shadowcat or the very grisly Ironside 2. I know who I'd prefer.
3, 2, 1. Activate!
Neither robot wasting any time as the fight commences. Storm 2 with an excellent first push into Shunt, and Shunt fighting Diot-Awe off, and away they go again. Diot-Awe managing to get a flip there on Storm 2, but Storm 2 pushes them onto the floor flipper, and Diot-Awe will also flip. Now, what's come off of Storm 2 there? It looks like a piece of top armour to me. That's interesting. I wonder whether their top armour is as well protected as they say. They're now lifted up onto Shunt, and Diot-Awe could get underneath here, but doesn't and drives away. And now Storm 2 trying to push once again into now an empty corner patrol zone where Shunt used to be, but stopping on the spikes. Very foolish from them. Diot-Awe trying to get the right angle, and a good flip there from Diot-Awe, and Storm 2 overturned and will have to self-right. They can do this in excellent style, but style's not a category we're looking for anymore, so let's just carry on with the commentary, eh? Storm 2 still using their excellent torque, and Diot-Awe has lost its flipper and has this fight turned in any way, shape or form. Rogue House Robot has just come into play. Matilda using her rear end to try and get at Diot-Awe. Now, this could be interesting, and I don't think that flywheel can actually reach Diot-Awe, and Matilda seems a little bit stuck. There we go. Oh well, never mind Matilda, you weren't much help. Storm 2 unlucky with your tactics, but now pushing Diot-Awe into a CPZ with a more capable house robot. Shunt managing to get several axe blows into Diot-Awe there before flicking them away, and now Storm 2 trying to push once again, but Diot-Awe pushing back, now being pushed again by Storm 2 and left on the pit of oblivion. Will we see that go down? No, it's Rogue House Robot again, and Matilda's on her way to rectify the situation of earlier, flipping Diot-Awe, and I think that is, as they say, that for Diot-Awe. Diot-Awe now just being bullied by Matilda into submission, and here comes Storm 2 to finish things off. Pushing, shoving, done. Well done Storm 2, you are into the Heat final. But can you see the damage on the top of Storm 2 there? They'll need to fix that. Well, other than that superficial damage that Storm 2 took, they were on top of Diot-Awe for the majority of the time. They managed to self-right well on the only time that they got flipped by Diot-Awe, and they then rectified it by taking off that flipper. A continued issue for Diot-Awe. They'll have to fix that if they wish to return in this form, but Rogue House Robot took them out. So we have reached our last semi-final tonight, where Ironside 2 will be taking on Shadowcat. This will be a really interesting fight. Ironside 2, the heavier and possibly the more deadly. Shadowcat well suited to spinners, as we saw in that opening melee. But they're not the only ones in the arena. We've got Matilda and we've got Dead Metal too. Got to wonder how many blows can Shadowcat take before they ultimately get destroyed.
3, 2, 1. Activate!
And so they're off, and you'd think Shadowcat would box rush, and they tried to, but Ironside were already up to speed, and they got smacked away once again. Oh, this is going to be fun to see Shadowcat thrown all across the arena by Ironside, trying to lift Ironside there, not managing it, and managing to get underneath that bar of Ironside. Both on the floor flipper, both got flipped there, as Shadowcat is the first to self-right. We know that Ironside's Shrimech takes a little bit longer to self-right, and they won't be able to if they roll like they just did. Shadowcat now fully in control. Rogue House Robot comes into play. Dead Metal here attacking. Both of these robots getting hooked on that bar spinner of Ironside, and now getting them stuck on the flame pit. Shadowcat trying to charge them again, but right, Ironside gets away, spinning up the bar and hitting Shadowcat back onto the flame pit. This is a good attack from them, and so was that. That was a mighty hit. And is Shadowcat alright? They've been shot across the arena again. Yes, they're fine. And as I said at the beginning, how many of these attacks can Shadowcat take? Well, as it turns out, at least 3 more than they had earlier on. And now getting underneath Ironside and turning Ironside over again. That Shremek not looking like it's going to be working for Ironside. It's not closed since the first time, and Shadowcat are trying to lift Ironside out of the arena. They're not managing it. They've gone for the pit release button. The pit has opened, and now it should just be an easy push or a flip on the floor flipper. Shadowcat getting their money's worth, and yes, Shadowcat take the victory over Ironside too. What a shocker there, but well done to them. They are through.
Cease.
Ironside 2, an absolute beast of a machine. Such a shame that they've gone out here, but they have gone out to a very, very good machine in Shadowcat. Their Shremek needs work. Obviously, they weren't able to self-right when they wanted to be able to, and that was their downfall in the end. Ironside got overturned, and that was them done. Shadowcat, risky tactics using the floor flipper at this late stage, but they paid off. Well done, Shadowcat. You'll be facing Storm 2. And it's that fight we turn to now. So, who will win? Well, in this fight, it looks like Shadowcat is just the heavier, but Storm 2 just the faster. Both very similar, both good at pushing, both good at deflecting against each other. How will they fare in the arena when we have Shunt and Sir Kill-A-Lot alongside? I wonder. Could this be one of the closest heat finals we've seen? Well, we'll certainly find out in a few minutes, won't we?
Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate!
And immediately Storm 2 on a good push, and I couldn't even catch up with the very beginning of this fight. It's going to be a fast-paced one, I can already tell. Storm 2 pushing against Shadowcat, Shadowcat pushing back. This is going to be the theme of this fight, I believe. They're both very good pushers, as I said in the intro to this fight, but who has the lower ground clearance? Well, it looks like it's Shadowcat. Rogue House Robot has come into play. Here comes Sir Kill-A-Lot attacking the upturned Storm 2, and now getting that lance in, trying to do some work, put them on top of Shadowcat, but lifting them up again. Can Sir Kill-A-Lot do anything more with them? Yes, they've sort of propped Storm 2 up, and I'm not sure they can self-right from that position without help. Shadowcat seems to want to give them some help, but is pushing them once again at a sidewall. Now Storm 2 coming in for an attack, and both caught on the floor flipper there. Shadowcat self-righting, Storm 2, fine, could have come round for another attack, didn't. Why, I wonder, why do they not come in for another attack? Now Shadowcat's pushing Storm 2 into that CPZ, that's where Sir Kill-A-Lot is, and Sir Kill-A-Lot once again coming in for a good attack on Storm 2, lifting them up and over, and now they need to try and self-right, but does it look to you like they're struggling to self-right? They've managed it now, they needed a bit of a longer run-up perhaps. Shadowcat pushing Storm 2 into a side wall. Not much life coming from Storm 2. The arena button has been pressed, the pit has been released, and now Storm 2 seems to be in a devilish position as Shadowcat is pushing them all around the arena. Thought about the floor flipper once again. Storm 2's levelled over the pit, and there they go. Shadowcat take the win, and they are moving on to the grand final. Well, I wondered at the start of this episode whether Storm 2's front wedge would be a weakness for them this episode, and I was definitely right in saying it was. Shadowcat managed to get under them way too many times. They got pushed all around the arena, they got overturned, and finally dispatched into the pit. A very good looking Shadowcat. They could go a long way in this competition. We now have half of our finalists in place. Thor, Bite Force and Shadowcat are already through to the grand final, and Storm 2 will be joining Carbide and Apollo in the 5-Robot Rumble to see who gains that all-important 6th place. Well then everybody, you've survived one of the most damaging and destructive episodes of the Grand Slam so far. And I say so far because there's plenty more to come. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.